Today we're taking a look at these NHL matches, which are happening on Tuesday, November 1st, 2022, and giving you match our parlay picks, breakdowns, betting tips and predictions in general on these games. Welcome back to High Stakes, let's get straight into it. Also, don't forget to subscribe and push that notification bell to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos, and if you would like more betting tips and predictions, then check out our Patreon in the link down below. Our new Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. Multiple plans are available for each and every one of you. By becoming a member of the High Stakes Patreon, you will have access to our best team picks, total picks, parlay picks and much more. Stop wasting hours of your time searching for bad betting predictions that ends up costing you a lot of time and money. Join the High Stakes Patreon now and get the best betting picks. Dallas Stars vs Los Angeles Kings. We're going to transition into a straight money line play, which means we just need the Stars to win in any fashion, including overtime or a shootout. We're taking this approach as Dallas prefers to play in low-scoring games. That used to be the calling card for the Kings, but that has not been the case so far this season. Both LA goaltenders Cal Petersen and Jonathan Quick have struggled so far, as the Kings have allowed the fourth most goals per game in the NHL. The Stars may not be known for their goal scoring, but they can score enough for the win. With Ettinger out, Scott Wedgwood will start in goal for Dallas. Wedgwood is 0-2-1 this season with a .880 save percentage and has allowed 4.29 goals per game. The Stars average scoring 3.1 goals per game and have given up 2.22 a game. The Kings are scoring 3.5 and allowing 3.9 goals a night. Los Angeles' main goalie, Jonathan Quick, started Monday, so Cal Petersen should get the start. With the Kings playing back-to-back nights and having their backup in goal, we like the Stars to win despite being without Ettinger. We mention both LA goaltenders as this will be the second night of a back-to-back for them. Worse yet, the Kings will be on the road for both games, having just played in St. Louis against the Blues last night. The Stars were just taken down by the New York Rangers the last time they were on the ice, but they are still in first place in the Central Division. Yes, that's the division that includes the defending Stanley Cup champion Colorado Avalanche. Their 2 wins over the Kings last season were 1-goal games, so stick with the money line for this play. Our first parlay pick is Stars win. Minnesota Wild vs Montreal Canadiens. Both the Canadiens and Wild are coming off of road wins and now face one another in Minnesota on Tuesday. Surprisingly, they both even have similar records, with the Habs sitting at 5-4-0 and the Wild at 4-4-1. Having said that, these teams should still not be considered in the same tier. It may be a long shot, but Minnesota is out for a Stanley Cup run, while Montreal doesn't inspire much confidence to even make a playoff appearance. That's because they're coming off of last season in which they had the worst record in the Eastern Conference and they made very few moves in the offseason. Their first road game of this year was a shutout loss to the Detroit Red Wings, so everything from last season looked set to repeat itself. While they have since pulled off some surprising upsets, it's still difficult to trust this Canadiens team. They are almost solely reliant on 21-year-old Cole Caulfield to win games, which is not fair to the youngster. While he's been incredible thus far, it's simply not enough against a team as stout as the Wild. It wasn't when they faced Minnesota exactly 1 week ago, and that game was in Montreal. The Wild won that matchup by multiple goals and should do the same on home ice Tuesday night. Their star left winger Kirill Kaprizov is off to another fast start with 11 points on the young season, and his line mate Matt Zuccarello has stepped up in a big way. The Wild are one of the toughest teams to face on the road, and they should be able to prove that against the Canadiens on Tuesday. Our second parlay pick is Wild minus 1.5 goals. Calgary Flames vs Seattle Kraken. Let's break down what should be one of the blowouts of the night. These are 2 Pacific Division teams that are in completely separate tiers. Keep in mind this is just the second year the Kraken have even been a franchise. Meanwhile, the Flames are one of the favorites to win the Western Conference. They're currently 5-2-0 so far this season, and their offseason additions have fit in well. Nazem Kadri from the Avalanche leads the team in points with 9, and they're going to be out to avenge their recent loss. It was a tough 1-goal defeat to the Edmonton Oilers, but the Kraken don't have superstars like Connor McDavid. Not only do the new-look Flames look red-hot so far this year, they handled Seattle with ease last season. They defeated them in all 4 meetings, 3 of which came by multiple goals. The Kraken may be riding high from their recent win, but they'll be traveling to Calgary for this one. The Flames are in the midst of an 8-game homestand, so expect a rested and comfortable Calgary squad to sink the Kraken tonight. Our third parlay pick is Flames minus 1.5 goals. Arizona Coyotes vs Florida Panthers. There seems to be quite a few mismatches on the board in the NHL on Tuesday night, and this is one of them. Of course, it's a new season, but it's still worth noting how these teams ended last year. The Panthers won the President's Trophy for the league's best record, while the Coyotes had the absolute worst. That includes being worse than the Seattle Kraken, who was in the inaugural season last year. More concerning is the fact that Arizona made virtually no changes in the offseason. They have a young stud in Clayton Keller, but that's not enough to overcome the juggernaut of the Panthers. Matthew Tkachuk is leading Florida in goals scored with 5, assists with 8, and points with 13. In goal, Sergei Bobrovsky is 2-3-1 with a goals against average of 3.06 and save percentage of .897. Florida scores an average of 3.22 goals per game and allows an average of 3.11 goals per game. Florida's power play scores 9.8% of the time, and its penalty kill unit is successful 74.3% of the time. Arizona looks to snap a 2-game losing streak when hosting the Florida Panthers on Tuesday. Arizona is 2-5-1 with 5 points and last in the Central Division, 6 points behind first place. Arizona was defeated by the New York Rangers 3-2 on Sunday, and the Coyotes have lost 4 of the last 5. Scoring for Arizona and the loss were Lawson Crouse and Nick Bjugstad, but Arizona gave up a third-period goal and could not respond. Not only did Florida have an incredible season last year, but they were also determined to improve over the summer. They were already a high-flying, explosive offense, but needed to become a more balanced team if they wanted to make it further into the Stanley Cup playoffs. Therefore, they signed new head coach Paul Maurice and traded for Matthew Tkachuk from the Calgary Flames. They've already looked the part, even more so than their 5-3-1 record. Some of their losses have come to great teams like the Boston Bruins and Tampa Bay Lightning, which the Coyotes are not. Florida still sits among the top teams in the Atlantic Division, while Arizona already finds itself in last place in the Central Division once again. They seem to give the Toronto Maple Leafs fits, but that's about the only good team they can compete with. The Coyotes lost 4 of their first 5 games of the year by at least 3 goals, so expect another rough loss for the home teams again on Tuesday night. Our fourth parlay pick is Panthers minus 1.5 goals.